Are we good? We recording here yet or no?
Yeah, yes.
That's still on? Okay. So as I was saying, the mayor couldn't be here this evening, so I'll read the proclamation honoring November 13th as World Pancreatic Cancer Day. Whereas in 2015, an estimated 48,960 people will be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in the United States, and 40,560 will die from the disease. And whereas pancreatic cancer is one of the deadliest cancers and is the fourth leading cause of death in the United States and is projected to become the second by 2020. And whereas pancreatic cancer is the only major cancer with 5-year relative survival rate in the single digits and just 7%. And whereas when symptoms of pancreatic cancer present themselves at a generally late stage, and 74% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first year of the diagnosis, while 93% of pancreatic cancer patients die within the first 5 years. And whereas the good health and well-being of the residents of Mount Olive Township are enhanced as a direct result of increased awareness about pancreatic cancer and research into early detection, causes, and effective treatment. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Robert Greenbaum, Mayor of Township of Mount Olive, hereby do proclaim November 13th as World Pancreatic Cancer Day in Mount Olive Township. Next on the agenda is the appointment of Ralph Ruggiero to the EDC. Any discussion? Ralph is going to be taking a seat on the EDC. Daniel.
Mr. President, I was going to ask you, the council did not receive from the mayor the background information or resume on the appointee.
Okay.
I
Did he get it?
never received a thing back from him.
Oh, we never got it back in.
No, he's supposed to fill out a form, a citizen leadership form. I have not received it back yet.
He did tell me he sent it, but I don't know where it is.
No, I never received it. So I don't know if you want to continue it to the next meeting
Continue
or.
if you want. Up to the council, how do they feel? Mr.
Yeah, I would move that we table it until we receive the.
Anyone else? Well, you want to table it or you want to
Well, I think we should just continue it to the next meeting.
continue it
the
rather to
discussion.
the next meeting, or is everybody all right pointing? What's the majority of the council?
Was he not aware of this?
Who? Yeah, Ralph,
Yes,
I
he
spoke to
didn't
him and he
send
said he sent it
Okay.
in. He sent it in and supposedly, but I don't know where it went to. I talked to him last week.
Okay.
Lisa spoke to him and he was aware of it. He was asked to be on. He was very happy to, but
He'll be taking, I'm sorry, her name escapes me now. Laura over in Rec, who moved away to Delaware. He's going to be taking her seat. Laura Rimmer.
what's the council's wish? Do we wish to move it or till, I mean,
Let's table it to the next meeting.
okay.
Yeah, I would say since that's
That's
the
fine.
policy, we should
Yes.
probably,
Yeah,
even though
that's
a lot
fine.
of us already know them, some don't. So.
Right, that's fine. We'll table it till the next meeting then.
We should adhere to the policy.
Right.
That's fine. No problem there. All right, next item up is Harris Lane. Mrs. Harris, do you have, Ms. Harris, do you have any-
Yes,
bring us up to date on that and the,
I'm not sure which microphone is mine. So, as you're aware, we met with, I met with the police department, Public Works, and the planning office to discuss the requested closing of Harris Lane. A traffic study had been conducted. The results of the study showed an average of 381 cars per day, which came to 16 cars per hour or 4 cars every 15 minutes. So we thought at this point, the shutting down of the street wasn't really warranted, and that it was best to wait 6 months after the business opened. So now we basically have baseline measurements so that we can do a comparison. We'll do an additional traffic study, do a comparison of vehicle traffic at that point, compare it to what we have now, and reassess the situation and determine whether or not the street needs to be closed.
Okay.
So the professionals I met with, they're present. I think they're prepared to comment on the issue tonight. Mr. Quinn?
you want
I
to,
couldn't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want me to-
Just move the mic a little bit closer to you.
So basically, what we found with the traffic study was that we had an average of about 4 cars every 15 minutes coming down the street. And I did look at the times of this study just to see if there were different times of day where there was heavier traffic. It does appear that the traffic is consistent throughout the day at all times. So now that we have a baseline measurement, we're going to wait until the business opens 6 months after the business is open, we're going to conduct an additional study and do a comparison of that study with the one that we've already conducted to determine, reassess the situation and determine whether or not the street needs to be shut down.
For those that don't know me, I'm Steve Beecher. I'm a captain with the police department. I don't know who lives on Harris Lane that's here tonight, but we certainly feel that your concerns are legitimate and valid. But there was some talk about this possibly being premature. And thanks to you bringing your concerns forward to us, we were able to do this traffic study, and Sergeant Pokwat has some good baseline numbers, which later on we'll be able to reevaluate and see what the impact of traffic is in your neighborhood. Okay. One of the things that Sergeant Pokwat and I spoke about was there's presently a 4-ton weight limit on that road, and that's going to have to be an ordinance that's revisited if and when a motion goes in.
Yeah, no, the only reason being is because it's 4-ton the entire length. We're going to have to address how do we get vehicles into the dealership. So that's something we're going to have to talk about once the dealership does go in. We're also going to increase the signage at Sand Shore and 46 to hopefully help you guys out as much as we can. We have to understand there's other departments just besides the police department. Snow plowing.
You have to speak into the
Presently,
mic.
the 4-ton weight limit, what that basically means is any vehicle that's 6 tires or more would be about 10,000 pounds or way over that posted limit, and they wouldn't be able to travel that road. So that's why that has to be reevaluated down the road because, pardon the pun, because presently that's the weight limit for that entire roadway.
No, 4 tons, did you mention? 4 tons is about 4 tons is about a vehicle with four tires. So there shouldn't be any vehicles going down that road that are bigger than a small box truck, let's say. I know you probably have it, and I'm not going to deny that. There's no doubt. And it's a quality of life issue, and we understand that. But after meeting with everybody, I think we've decided that it's just in the best interest just to hold until we get some other numbers.
Well, basically, it's going to take the time to see what's going to change. Right now, obviously, your development or your roadway is staying the same as it's been. As the captain and the sergeant said, we've got some good baselines to actually monitor your roadway to see if there is a need sooner than later to address the problem, and that's basically what we're going to do. Currently, the road is the same as it's been for the past 20 years, traffic-wise, maybe increased slightly. So, and our departments and maintenance are going to continue as they always have. If in the future we see that you are having issues with traffic, truck traffic, additional car traffic, then changes will be made. We've discussed certain options and areas that we can go with this, and you've brought it to our attention, and we're going to keep an eye on it. Anybody from the crowd want to speak?
Yeah. Just coming up there.
Just state your name and address for the record when you get up into the microphone, please.
Hi, I'm Rudolph Nordman. I live on Mine Hill Road. I use that Harris Lane to go in and out all the time. It's a natural egress coming from my house, coming out Stevens State Park Road. Over the years, they've shut down 3 of the natural alternate routes out of that area. They shut down Mine Hill Road, they shut down Stevens State Park Road, and they shut down the road that used to go over to the sand and gravel. Now you want to shut down Harris Lane? That's insane. If you want to make a turn in and out at the end of Sand Shore onto 46, going out at the light from Sand Shore onto 46 is easy. But trying to make a westbound turn onto Sand Shore is really bad news. And Smithtown Road coming in and out, that's a big steep hill. And then you have to come past Sand Shore School. That's also, when there's school nights, hard to get by. I think that doing anything to Harris Lane is wrong. I also got an RV that I bring in and out through that lane. And I have been doing it for almost 50 years. For the record, no decision has been made to shut anything down. Okay. We're listening. I read the article. We're in the listening mode.
Anyone else wish to be heard on Harris Lane while we're here on the subject? Just, again, state your name and address.
Got somebody else coming up.
Good evening. My name is Joe Mabey, and I live on Stevens Park Road. And I was concerned when I heard someone say that they are considering closing Harris Lane. If you travel from on 46, as I do occasionally, and you're going west, you have to slow up quite a bit to get onto Harris Lane, but not exceedingly amount. However, you have a choice. You can turn right there, or you can go on up and turn right on Sandshore Road. Now that is a very, very sharp right turn, extremely sharp. You have to slow down, practically stop. And then, of course, you're going down Route 46. They're traveling, 48, 52 miles an hour. And you kind of look in your mirror to see who's going to ram into you because you can't make the turn exactly. It's a very sharp right turn. And a lot of times there's cars on the other side, and you have to slow up for them. So that's not a viable thing to do. And then somebody might say, well, why can't you go up Smithtown Road, up the old Jacobs Hill? And my parents used to sled right down there when it was dirt. Anyway, I'm sure you have, and I will ask you the question, I'm sure you have. Have you ever tried to get up that hill when it's ice and snow on the ground? Have you ever come down the hill when there's ice and snow on the ground? Whereas when you can come down, go down, go up Harris Lane, you have that little short, fairly flat, and you can get up to about 15, 20 miles an hour, so you can make it up that little hill and go around. Now, as I was thinking about this, when someone complained about the road where we live, which is Stevens Park Road, they put up speed signs. Now, to my knowledge, there's no speed sign on Harris Lane, but they put up speed signs, and that's helped tremendously. It's 25 in front of my house, and a little faster down on the straightaway. And so, for those reasons, I'm concerned, and I trust you'll do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Just, if you do, just go up to the podium and state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Paul McGinnis, 8 Harris Lane, and I was wondering what would warrant closing the road if the traffic? What kind of increase in traffic would it be? What would warrant closing the road? To the study that you had made, you said 6 months later you'll revisit it. So what would make a change? Just curious for that question first.
I was going to ask, sir. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And right now, it's hard to tell exactly what would warrant the change other than a huge increase in traffic. As the BA said, I think we have an average of, was it 360 a day?
381 a day.
Okay, 381 a day. Once we do another study, once that comes in, we have two things that are coming in there. We have the Jersey Girl Brewery, and then we have the dealership. The idea here is to wait and see what impact that is going to have on increased traffic. Again, as I said earlier, we totally understand that for everyone on Harris Lane, this is a quality of life issue. But for the first two gentlemen that stood up, it's also a quality of life issue in the opposite direction for other people that live out there. So I just think it behooves us, as we already have said today, to just wait and see what increase we have in terms of traffic before we start to, take any drastic measures. Now, one of the things we hope to do right now, the gentleman had mentioned a speeding problem. The average speed on this road is really 26 miles an hour, so it's not a speeding problem. And that doesn't equate to a safety issue anyway. Again, this is a quality of life issue, and I do feel for you people. I really do. I understand what the concerns are. You have kids, you have other things, and you have this traffic cutting through there. What we're going to attempt to do, and I've spoken with Tim Quinn and the captain here, But we're going to try to do some engineering changes, because engineering changes are inexpensive. It's adding signs. We may have to do some painting, some channelization. We're not exactly sure yet, but we're going to do something. We're going to do something to increase the awareness of vehicles cutting through there that shouldn't be cutting through there. I know one of the concerns was the commercial truck traffic. I've gotten some complaints that we were having some larger tractor trailers come down that road. Well, we really can't have that. We have to do everything we can to avoid that from happening. So the idea here is, because once a vehicle, understand, once that tractor trailer commits to travel down that road, there's really no turning back. He's going through. And it's no fault of his at this point. He can't back out onto 46, and he certainly can't back out onto Sandshore. So what we'd like to do is we'd like to increase the signage and do a few other things to warn trucks before they turn down there that it's a 4-ton weight limit. You're not allowed down here. And that's the next step in what we plan on doing. So I know that probably for the people that live on Harris, that probably isn't the answer that you were hoping to get tonight, but there are just other factors involved here, quality of life issues for other people outside of Harris Lane, along with snow plowing issues. We've got garbage collection issues. Again, we'd be coming down the road, back and back out. I know that's an issue. Frank Wilbur Jr. had mentioned that. We also, when we close a roadway, it behooves us to have a cul-de-sac at the end. So any vehicle that comes down the roadway, if you notice, every roadway that we have closed, be it Flanders-Netcong Road, we try to put a cul-de-sac at the end of it, so anyone that goes down there can hit the cul-de-sac. I'm not even sure we have enough room right there to put a cul-de-sac. So all these things, although it sounds like it'd be great to be able to do this, we do have to take other things into account. So I hope that answers some of your questions. I can't just give you a definite what would it be.
You also made a comment.
Just into the microphone, please. Thanks.
There would be no way they would change the weight limit for the trucks on that street, would there?
From the police department standpoint, we wouldn't be changing. First off, that's about the lowest weight limit restriction we have in town. Typically, it's a 5-ton weight limit. 4-ton is real. That's light. That's a smaller. That's a good sized pickup, a dually, if you don't mind the language. A dually. Yeah, that's the size of what we're talking there. To lower it, you really can't go any lower. To raise it. At this point, that would not be our position. Again, that's something that I don't believe the council would be looking to entertain that. From our point, I could say that at this time, that wouldn't be the direction we would want to go.
And one more comment. I really don't think it affects anyone else's really quality of life. When you say quality of life, with respect to these guys, I don't see why you can't go to Smithtown Road, rather than come down our street with whatever we have. 30 years.
You have to speak into the microphone.
Okay.
You have to get to the microphone if you reply. Excuse me.
Excuse me.
Excuse me. You need just to get to the microphone if you want to make a comment, both, because we can't get it.
Thank you. That's all I got to say.
You're welcome.
Oh, you want me to go up again?
If you have something to
Well,
say,
give
yeah.
somebody else a chance. You've been heard.
Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Chris Hill. I live on 5 Harris Lane with my wife, Mary. One of the things Officer Paquant spoke about was the truck traffic that we already have and how you were going to add maybe...
Could you speak a little louder,
Sure,
please?
sure. How you were possibly going to work on the signage or add signage. Would that be a thing that you're talking about that's immediately going to happen? Or is that... Right, I mean, obviously right now we have a truck problem. We got trucks, I saw one the other day. So... Is that something we're looking to address?
It's something we'd be looking to do as soon as we can.
Okay. So that would be one of the
We
things.
wanted to get through this meeting. I've spoken with Tim Quinn. We wanted to get through this meeting. Once a decision is made, we'll have a better idea of what direction we're going, and Timmy and I will take care of what needs to be done as far as that goes.
Anyone else wish to be heard?
Hi, Mary Hill, live on 5 Harris Lane. I just want the board to recognize this is a quality of life in respect to inconveniences versus our family living on the road. Signage is already there at the beginning and end, speed limits, 4-ton weight limit. I don't know how much more signage can be put there to actually make an effect. I just, in my opinion, I understand this is the way it's going to go through in terms of we're going to postpone, but seeing as we have an issue now, I don't see the need to postpone, but I mean, seeing as everyone here is saying so, just recognize that we live on the road and that we have these cars and these trucks, the milk trucks specifically, coming down our road. Thank you.
Thank you.
To cover part of your concern with the signage, your road does have decent signage on it. We're looking at to move out to the highway. DOT has not put sufficient signage out on the highway to address the trucks that are making the turns on your roadway, and that's what Sergeant Poquat is going to be looking at. More approach to the roadway than actually on the roadway, so people are getting advance notice before they get there that they cannot turn up that roadway, and I think that will help.
Makes sense. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
My name is Bob Perkowski. I'm the guy I guess they're complaining about. We've been there a long time, and those trucks don't hurt nothing. The infrastructure needs repairs. You're in a listening mode, so listen. You got poor access up by Hildebrands, you got poor access on Wolf Road. You just had an accident up there by Johnson Dodge a couple days ago again. Mr. Corporation was allowed to come in and build and develop. You had to approve it because you said you'd be sued. So you did. But we have wagon trails we're dealing with. Now, it's up to you people to make improvements on the infrastructure so these people don't come up here and complain about their quality of life. That's all there is to it. You gotta make improvements. Where are you gonna start doing it and when? Your road systems aren't working anymore. You know it. You know it already from the accidents. He knows it. He knows what's happened to Stevens State Park Road and Smithtown Road. You come to that end there, they come down out of that state park, they don't slow down, they don't stop, you can't see. Mr. Poquat here, he even said the visibility is terrible. But I haven't heard from you since. So I don't know what we're gonna do about that one, but you gotta work on the infrastructure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Joe Fleischner, 34 Karen Place in Bud Lake. I really wasn't going to say anything because I thought, most of you folks know me very well. You also know that I sit on the planning board and I was the only person to vote no on the application for the dealership. And my reason was the same as what these folks say here. I've lived in town for 41 years. When I first moved to Bud Lake, there were 8,000 people. Now there's about 18,000 people, totally in the town 28,000. People go up and down Smithtown Road and turn on Harris Lane because it's a shortcut. It is a shortcut for people because they don't want to be inconvenienced. And we mentioned that you're going to have the brewery there, the car dealership, but you're also going to have a gas station at the corner. It backs up now on Smithtown Road to make a left turn onto 46. If you're a third car, you don't make the light because cars are coming across from Nortright. More people are going to want to use Harris Lane because guess what? You can't make the left when that gas station goes in. So what's going to happen? Poor Sergeant Poquat and the captain here are going to be called constantly because some idiot, and I'll use the word idiot, wants to make a left out of Harris Lane onto 46. And we all know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to be coming from the Chevy dealership in a hurry to go west, and boom, you're going to have accidents. The gentleman that just spoke here is so true. We've seen a lot of road repairs around town, but you have a disaster sitting off of Harris Lane and Smithtown Road where it comes into 46. And I know the township has made a tremendous effort to get maybe DOT to move back the stoplights that are on the corner, the traffic lights at Smithtown and 46, but that's not happening unless you folks go down to DOT and park your butts in their office until they do something, because that's how we got a light at Wolf Road, Smithtown Road, and 46. They told us 3 years. And I'm not going to tell you the person who sat there for 3 days, but he's in this room. And then all of a sudden, the following week, they showed up and said, ooh, we have a dangerous condition. Because what this gentleman said is so true. You haven't done anything up there. You're more concerned about what goes on around Siemens than you are about what goes on up in that area of Bud Lake. It's time, ladies and gentlemen, that you do something about it. As far as quality of life, yes, the zoning board or the master plan should have never zoned that area commercial. I question whether the last master plan people even drove down that street. My guess is they probably didn't, so it stayed commercial. But it never should have been commercial. It should have been residential where these folks live because the houses were there. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. You need to do what's right for the people. Shortcuts are all great. Everybody wants a shortcut. NIMBY, not in my backyard. If it inconveniences me, it must be no good. Well, guess what? We're here for the entire township, and we need to do the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the? Anyone from council? Okay, I want to thank everyone for your comments and your concerns, and we are truly concerned, and it is an issue. We know we've discussed this before when they were here. I think we're all in agreement, but again, we have to look at everything overall, and I don't disagree with the comments here about the roads and all, and I think that's things that we can look into further and see if there are more improvements and other things we can do as well. But at the same time, we have to be mindful of everyone on both sides, and that's the hardest part up here, is trying to keep everybody happy. You never can in most cases, but we will try to do what we can do. As of right now, there hasn't much changed, I would assume, in the last couple of years on that road, I assume, right? It's been pretty much about the same sort?
I don't believe it has. Maybe the residents would have a different opinion. I don't have any baseline
Right.
numbers other than
Yeah,
what
this was
we've
the
just-
first one we did,
You
so,
got it.
you know,
Correct.
within 6 months or so, when the other properties go up, we will have a better handle, and if it's something that does become a problem, believe me, we will address it. We're not throwing it under the carpet and ignoring the residents that live there, we're truly not. It's just we need to get the better numbers and find out what happens after everything opens and see, and make immediate action if we have to. But, Ms. Laybell?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just have a question. I don't know if anybody has the answer for it tonight, but with the gas station going in on the corner, since we do have some planning board representatives here, are they going to change that light structure? Is anything being changed? Nothing. I'm seeing a head shaking no. So that's going to remain the same? There's not going to, you don't know if they're going to change the timing?
We addressed that originally with the gas station. One of our things that we wanted to do, and I know Mr. Weiss is in the audience. I don't know if you had anything to say about this, but that was one of the concerns we had about the gas station, was that the whole intersection up there, it makes no sense for an additional gas station. So we as a police department voiced our concerns and were against it happening. The decision was made that it was going to go in for whatever that was going to be, but we weren't going to be able to get DOT to do anything at that time. The opinion was that, we're stuck with what we have. Do I think if we really pushed it, that we could continue to get something done? I think that's a possibility, but we have to continue to push it. I know that we're working currently on Route 46 at Old Wolf Road and Wolf Road. We're trying to get something done down there, hoping that we're going to have something that occurs down there that's going to improve. But again, DOT is a big organization, and we like to work with them. Sometimes it can be a little difficult to get their attention, but the idea is to keep doing that.
Is there any timeline when the gas station is going to go in? Does anybody know? Nothing? Okay.
Unfortunately, I don't know. Mr. Weiss may have a better idea. I don't know if he can.
Good evening, Howie Weiss. I'm the chairman of the planning board. Colleen, two questions. You raised two issues. The only improvement on that intersection is going to be the applicant has given us an easement, but it has really nothing to do with
the traffic.
That easement will widen the intersection for vehicle traveling west, making a right onto Sancho Road. So right now it's a very difficult intersection, so they're going to widen it at that point. Catherine, that's correct, right? There's an easement that they gave to the town, so the road will be widened. But as far as timing of the lights, I don't know how that works, and I would imagine that maybe you know how. I don't know how.
I
the
just
timing
suggested
of the light
that
works.
as something. Are they doing anything at all? But that's good news that they are widening that. That's a little little bit of good news.
Yeah, I don't think that's really the concern. The
No,
Harris Lane
no.
That's
residents.
not what
No, it's not what they're concerned about. I'm just questioning
Yeah, but
since
I know you
we
asked
had.
if there's going to be any change to the intersection. As far as timing of the project, I believe they just got their approval. I don't even recall, Catherine, I'm going to ask you, did they get the resolution on that yet?
The resolution was adopted last month.
Okay, so they just, within 30 days, we've granted the resolution. If he's real aggressive, he'll probably sit down with the building department this month, put together a developer's agreement. You know the way that works. It
Yeah.
could be, construction could
Months.
start with a bad time of year to start now, so you figure perhaps in his position, a best-case scenario, that project would start in the spring, and, you know, the build-out could go through the summer.
I appreciate.
So,
The reason why I ask, since we had the unique opportunity of having the people right here in this, you in the room and Catherine in the room, I figured might as well ask the question while we're all here and get the answer on, because people have kicked that around, what's going on with that, you know, so now we
the
know.
timing on the other projects, as Joe mentioned, we have the brewery, which is full steam ahead right now. They're working on their interior. As soon as they get their operation up and running, it will open. And the gas station also was just given their approval, and I would imagine that the springtime will be this time that they'll start construction on that project as well. So you could have everything by the end of 2016 kind of coming together. It's kind of the time frame that I see, but at that point, as you know, it's no longer under the jurisdiction of the planning board.
Right.
So,
Thank you.
okay. You want to address how they handled the metering of the light?
Yeah, I don't know if you did you have a question about the timing or the metering of the light? Was that?
It was more the time, I was just trying to think of something that they were going to do to help with that intersection.
It's an application. We would have to come up with I would have to do a study, come up with a resolution. The council would have to approve that resolution that we want DOT to come out and look at the timing of the light. And then they'll look at it, their engineers will take a look at it, and then they'll make a decision on whether something needs to be changed. It's a bureaucracy, and unfortunately, that is what we have to, those are the guidelines and what we have to live under. So it's just not a simple changing the timing anywhere.
I just wondered if with the application, if they had agreed, if that was already taken care of or
No,
handled, but
unfortunately,
obviously it was not.
No.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. See,
I got one more thing to say. Some of that pressure on Harris Lane could be taken off if they were to reopen Mine Hill Road and Stevens State Park Road. That would give people an alternate to get down the mountain without having to go out to 46. It's just something to consider. It's far-fetched, I know that.
thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you all. Next item on the agenda is 14 resolutions, 17 resolutions, I'm sorry. Does anyone have any comments, questions, concerns on the resolutions? Yep. Seeing none. We have 3 ordinances. Any questions, concerns on the ordinances?
Council President, I do
Yes.
just want to make note, the third ordinance for the transfer to Morris Chase and Morris Hunt. The ordinance states that the transfer will occur, I believe, December 8th. I received an email from New Jersey American that said they probably were not going to be able to make it happen until the first week or 2 of January.
Okay.
So I think for the record, we need to memorialize that and adjust the ordinance accordingly.
Okay, so we're going to adjust that here.
Thank God we're taking them systems over.
Amend it verbally till January, is that what you said? January 8th or something?
Laura, could you just clarify when the closing would occur?
Well,
First week in January?
the email specifically said early in January, so I
Okay.
would say we would make it no later than January 15th.
Okay.
January what? 13th? 15th? January 15th. Okay. Anything else? We'll ask you to make the amendment. Okay, any old business? Seeing none, any new business? Ms. Laybaugh?
This is sort of new business, but it's old. I just was wondering, they brought up a good point with Mine Hill Road. Got me thinking, I know a lot of the, like even first responders, fire department, first aid squad, Mine Hill Road, if that was opened up, that goes right down into Indian Park. I'm not sure why it was closed, but Timmy's coming. I saw he was still here, so I wanted to grab him before he left. Why was it closed?
Mine Hill Road was closed down. The lower part of Mine Hill Road is the dirt road. There's a sharp cliff towards the lower end of it. The road was becoming very unsafe. I believe it's also private property. I don't know that it's township property. I'd have to check, but the reservoirs, the two reservoirs down there, they've recently just sold.
Right.
So I'd have to check to see if that is our road going down through there, but I'm starting to think it's not. The township did not close it down. I think it was closed down by the Hackettstown HMUA, because I know they own the reservoirs, and they might possibly own the roadway too. Stevens State Park Road was closed down. It's in better shape. It's still a dirt road. But that was closed down pretty much with the park police. The parks at the bottom wanted that roadway closed. A lot of strange things happened on the road, dumping, things like that, so it was just cut off.
Yeah. Okay. So
Okay.
you'll find out about. I mean, I don't know if we'd open it up if it is ours, but I'm just thinking in terms of.
I'm pretty sure it's out there. Sewer lines go right down the center of the road. They're HMUA. The reservoirs belong to the HMUA. They just sold everything. I will confirm that the roadway is not a township road, and I'll give it to Ms. Harris.
Yeah, because I just remember when we had the whole first day thing and stuff, and a lot of the response time getting into Indian Park, that area was because of Mine Hill Road. The access was cut off because we no longer had that road, but that's
Right.
good to know. It's dirt. And now you said, I remember going down it. It was a
There's
dirt
that
road.
sharp cliff right on the bend down towards the bottom. It's not
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
that was a long time ago, but yeah,
Yes.
I remember that.
Yes.
So, all right, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just curious and see if that would be an option.
Yeah,
If it's something we even want to
No.
do, but no.
No. I'd stay away from it.
All right, so then I would say don't even bother. I'm just curious.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you.
Quinn. Anyone else? Seeing none, anyone from the public wish to be heard? Seeing none, close to the public. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'd like to open up the Mount Olive Council meeting for November 10th, 2015. Read Michelle, the Open Public Meetings Act, please.
According to the Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been given to the Daily Record. Notice has been posted in the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, and notices were sent to those requesting the same.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda.
Here.
Mrs. Labow.
Here.
Mr. Mania.
Here.
Mr. Roman. Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Ferrante.
Here.
Mr. Nacastro.
Here. Mr. Amianda, would you approve the previous minutes from the October 20th, 2015 workshop and public meeting?
I make a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meetings of October 20, 2015, work session and public meeting.
Second.
Yeah, I always forget. That's
I'm sorry, who's second?
Colleen.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Abstain.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. We have 39 pieces of correspondence. Any questions or anything on those? Seeing none. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 22-2015, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, to amend Chapter 170 entitled Space and Occupancy Requirements, Section 170-B, entitled Violations. Anyone from the public? Seeing none from the public, close to the public. Mrs. Labow.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that ordinance number 26-2015 be introduced by...
Excuse me.
I'm sorry.
We're on 22.
22-2015.
Yeah, run for public hearing.
My mistake, I'm
Sorry.
sorry. I turned one page too many. I stand corrected. Error reading. I move that ordinance number 22-2015 be, where are we? Okay. For adoption and final passage.
Yes.
Sorry. I said it.
Okay.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 23-2015, ordinance amending sections 3B, 3C, and 6B of the bond ordinance number 12-2014 of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, New Jersey, finally adopted April 22nd, 2014, in order to increase the appropriation and authorization amounts for the project described in section 3C to delete Section 3B and to amend Section 6B. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, close to the public. Mr. Mania?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption and final passage of ordinance number 23-2015.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebaw?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Fronte?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 24.
Hereby.
Oh, that's the wrong one? Yes, I forgot that last time, didn't I? I hereby declare ordinance number 24-2015 is passed on second reading, and I hereby direct the clerk to forward a copy of the same to mayor and publish the notice of adoption as required by law. That's ordinance number 23-15.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 24-2015, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing the township to take certain dormant bonds and/or funds into Township General Fund if not claimed after notice of publication. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, close to the public. Ms. Lebaw?
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for adoption and final passage of ordinance number 24-2015.
Second.
Discussion?
Council President, we just had one comment. The ordinance is drafted now has a date in it of November 20th for any developers to come forward to make a claim as to any of the dormant bonds. Our thought was to extend that date out to December 10th. It still allows Sherry to do what she needs to do by the end of the year, and it affords any developers that maybe don't catch wind of the ordinance a little extra time to come forward, because there is a provision in the ordinance that the clerk is going to publish the ordinance in the newspaper within 15 days after tonight. So we feel that December 10th is a little more fair, that date, so we would just suggest that the ordinance be moved as amended to reflect that the date would be December 10th as opposed to November 20th.
Thank you. Any discussion, Ms. Lebaw?
I have a question about that. Then, since this is a second reading, then do we have to go through all over again? We can just change the date, because it's not a substantive
Right.
change. Okay.
Right, two minor
So-
changes.
So then I should amend,
You could move it as amended.
move as amended.
We have a second?
Second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Discussion, none. Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebaw?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Fronte?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes, ordinance number 24-2015 is passed on second reading, and I hereby direct the clerk to forward a copy of the same to the mayor and publish notice of adoption as required by law. I open the hearing to the public on ordinance number 25-2015, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, approving and authorizing the execution of an agreement for modification of declaration of protective covenants, conditions, and restrictions. Anyone from the public? Seeing none, close to the public. Mr. Stewart?
I move for final adoption, for adoption and final passage of ordinance 25-2015.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebaw?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Fronte?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Ordinance number 25-2015 is passed on second reading, and I hereby direct the clerk to forward a copy of the same to the mayor and publish notice as required by law. We have three ordinances for first reading with a second reading of November 24th, 2015. Next item on the agenda is first reading of ordinance number 26-2015, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Mount Olive, amending ordinance number 21-2015, which established salaries for the mayor, council, department heads, supervisory personnel, employees of the Township Clerk's Office. Mr. Ferrante.
Sure, I move that ordinance number 26-2015 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on November 24th, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of second reading and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of the law.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Lebaw?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Fronte?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 25-2015, an ordinance of the...
Ordinance
Oh, 24, I'm sorry, I'm in the wrong one. Boy, 27-2015, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Mount Olive establishing recreation fees for various township-sponsored recreational activities. Mr. Amianda.
I move that ordinance number 27-2015 be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on November 24, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drextown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for public hearing, consideration of second reading, and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of the law.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is ordinance number 28-2015, an ordinance of the Township of Mount Olive in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing the township to accept the transfer of the water supply system within Morris Chase, Morris Hunt, and commence ownership and operation of the potable water supply for these developments as part of the township water system. Ms. Labow?
Thank you, Mr. President. I have a, do I introduce this and then we're going to hold it, table it? Is that what we're going to do?
I don't think we're going to table it. We're going to
No.
amend it tonight.
We're going to amend it tonight.
We're gonna
Okay, great.
Introduce it as amended.
So should I put that in, or I'll just introduce it and then you're going to do the amendments?
I can amend it first, just to...
Yeah, amend it first, makes it easier.
Just the issue with this, and if I'm overstepping, Laura, let me know. My understanding is, from Laura's comments tonight, is that the transfer actually, it's in the ordinance as taking place effective December 8th, but it's going to take a little longer. It's probably no later than January 15th is going to be the actual transfer date. So our suggestion would be just to introduce this ordinance tonight as amended, that in section 1, number 1, it would say effective no later than January 15th, as opposed to now it says effective December 8th, 2015, the transfer of the potable, and so on and so forth.
Thank you. I move that ordinance number 28-2015 as amended be introduced by title and passed on first reading, and that a meeting be held on November 24th, 2015 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 204 Flanders Drakestown Road, Bud Lake, New Jersey, for a public hearing, consideration of said reading and passage of said ordinance, and that the clerk be directed to publish, post, and make available said ordinance in accordance with the requirements of the law.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Roman? Sorry, Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. We have 17 consent resolutions. Mr. Mania, would you move the resolutions?
Yes, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of the consent resolutions 1 through 17.
Joe?
Second?
Yes, Sherry.
I just want to clarify one thing before you vote, if I could.
Mhm.
On the transfer resolution, I had sent a revised one, but the old one got put in here. Under sewer.
They do all have the new one.
They have it. I want
Yes.
to make sure, okay, Michelle, I just want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay, got it. It
Thank
should
you.
be 24,000 under salaries for sewer, so,
Okay.
okay.
Thank you. Mr. Mania, did you approved it, right? We had a second?
Second.
Okay, anyone from the public? Seeing none? Any,
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
who was the second, Colleen? No,
I did.
He did.
Mr. Amiana did. Any discussion, council comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. We have one motion. The second motion of appointment of Ralph Ruggiero is going to be tabled till the next meeting, correct?
Yes.
So, Mr. Ferrante, would you move the bill list, please?
Sure, I make a motion to move the bill list.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Amianda?
Yes.
Mrs. Labow?
Yes.
Mr. Mania?
Yes.
Mr. Stewart?
Yes.
Mr. Ferrante?
Yes.
Mr. Nacastro?
Yes. Administrative, any reports of any sort? Anything on your end, Laura?
Just a couple of things. The blanket and coat drive has started. Special thanks to sponsors Dorsey and Semro. DTA, GBW, Entourage, the Lamar Group, and Tractor Supply and Flanders. Recreation is busy planning the 2016 calendar of events. Marketing in the morning will be at Town Hall on Wednesday, the 18th, 2015. I believe that's December 18th.
Yes.
Sorry. Sponsored by the Mount Olive Chamber of Commerce. And Monday, November 23rd at 7:30 is the Interfaith Thanksgiving Gathering in St. Elizabeth.
Actually, it's next Wednesday. It's November 18th, not December.
November, I'm sorry, November 18th. Didn't have the month there, but.
Thank you. Any old business? Seeing none, any new business? Ms. Labo?
I have two new business, or actually questions for the administration. Ms. Harris, on Route 46, across from the CVS, there's a piece of property there that there had been a lot of issues in the past where the owner had parked a lot of broken down vehicles and so on and so forth. And I noticed it looks like they're starting to park items there. Did you see that, John? There's a camper there, and
Boat.
there was,
There's been a boat there.
and
for
there's a
years.
boat there, and that they're not supposed to leave anything in that lot, is my understanding. So I don't know what's being done, if Scott Van Ness, if he's, if any abatement notices have gone through. And the other thing, going down a little further east, before you get to the gas station, there's a house that is falling down, completely falling down. The person who owns it now had bought it on a tax sale, and they were trying to sell it. They're down like $15,000 for the property. They still haven't sold it. But it's just like so incredibly dangerous at this point. There is a family that lives next door, and if it falls over, it's just.
Like the one by Valera?
Huh?
The one by the Valera
Yeah.
gas station? On the
Yeah.
left?
It's like just a skeleton, like sort of wavering there, and they really, I know we've talked about it in the past, I just really want to know, like, what's going on, can we get rid of it? And-
Yeah, I'll check into it and see what we can do to abate that.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Mania?
I too have a house on Mount Olive Road and Colonial. There's somebody that lives in there, and I don't have any idea how they can inhabit that place. The roof is caving in.
The Blue House?
Blue House.
Yeah.
it's
Right. Really in sad shape.
Terrible.
Yeah, good, a lot of people keep talking about that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll look into that on Thursday.
Thank you, Laura.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Anyone else? Any legal matters?
No report tonight, Council President.
Thank you. Council reports. Mr. Amianda, anything on Board of Ed?
No.
Mr. Ferranti, anything on environmental, lake, or library?
Yeah, in the lake. So the Lake Association had reached out to me about concerns with the weed situation in the lake. They felt that, I guess, like this summer, it's just been worse than ever, even though it's still been treated. So I asked Ms. Harris to look into it, and that I guess there's a new species of a weed that's taken over the lake, and the vendors that we're using are going to try and attack it in the future. And we do have plans, a long-term plan. So the association was happy with our response.
Thank you. Ms. Labo, anything on senior economic or TNR?
Senior, I missed last meeting, unfortunately, I had a business meeting cropped up last minute, so I don't know if anybody talked about our bocce ball match with
Yeah,
the
we
seniors.
did. Yep.
And that was a lot of fun, and certainly looking forward to a rematch on that. The Mount Olive TNR had an extremely successful yard sale over at the After. They actually made more money than, each time they have it seems to make more money. And a lot of it has to do with donations, people stopping by and making very generous donations. So that was really good news. And with the Economic Development Committee, we're working on our website, bringing that up to launching, actually, right, Joe?
Yeah.
Getting ready to launch it. And with the new member, with Mr. Ruggiero, we were talking about trying to, find ways to get the word out there on available properties in town for businesses to come. So we talked about Randolph has a phenomenal economic development committee, and are you familiar with them, Greg? Randolph, they do a lot of stuff, so maybe we should take a page from their book and why reinvent the wheel? Let's just keep moving forward and making it better than what it is. So that's about it.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart, anything on MOTV?
Just that Centenary College is lined up to start helping in the new semester in January.
Thank you. Health Department has no meeting this month. Back in December, I believe, is our third week of December, which we'll be meeting with TNR as well. Mr. Maney, anything on legislative or planning?
No, on the planning board, we have our meeting coming up at Thursday evening.
Okay, anyone from the public? Seeing none, close to the public. Council comments. Mr. Amianda, anything?
No.
Ms. Laybow, anything?
No.
Mr. Maney?
Yes, I just want to congratulate our mayor on his election and our council people, Mrs. Laybell, Mr. Roman, and Mr. Nicastro, and our 2 legislators. Congratulations.
Mr. Stewart.
Mr. Stewart?
And Mr. Stewart, I apologize.
Mr. Stewart, anything?
No, thank you.
Mr. Ferranti?
Nothing.
And I was just going to thank everyone for their votes and confidence in putting us back in office as well, but you already
Thank
beat
you.
us to that, so thank you very much. Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Well,
47 seconds.